Shalom, shalom, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to KJBU. There's Elder T before you. And at the moment, we're going to do a correctional and a clarity teaching real quick so there is no confusion here at KJBU. When I did the introduction and the teaching on the God of flesh, and saying because the goat with the three comedians saying that they were Luciferians, I want to correct that statement because I can't make that statement if I personally don't know if they are or not. But the goat on stage with the comedian also is reference to the greatest of all time. And the same thing with athletes as Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, Tom Brady. That term is used quite often when it's referring to those that have achieved the highest that they can achieve in their field, in their sport, whether it's comedians, actors, actresses, so forth and so on. So I cannot put that stigma, that title on anyone that I personally don't know if they do it, if they don't. I can't speak my opinion. I only can speak facts. And here at KJBU, we're instructed to teach only factual and not to speak opinions. And going forward, let's have some clarity on the goat. The goat is a sinful, rebellious, unruly, wild, and a disobedient animal. It will not follow a shepherd. Sheep, on the other hand, are obedient to a shepherd because they will follow the shepherd. The goat will not. He's hard-headed, rebellious. So, pick me up in Matthew chapter 25. We're going to start at verse 31. And it says, "The Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. Then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory." Verse 32. "And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall" what? "Separate one from the other." There's going to be a separation, a divide. "As a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats." Now we know when dealing with those sheep, they're going to be what? Those are the individuals that are going to be obedient to the will, to the voice, to the instructions of the shepherd, which is Christ. So pick me up in John chapter 10, verse 14. It says right here, "I am the good shepherd." So we know this is the same spirit that's going to do the separating. "And knoweth my sheep, and I am known of my sheep." Verse 15. "As the Father knoweth me, even so I, the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep." John 12 and 25 is going to say, "He that loveth his life shall lose it." Because it's all about obeying the voice of your shepherd, obeying the voice of Christ. "And he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. And he that hateth his life in this world, what is temporal, what is carnal, shall keep it unto unto life eternal. Verse 26, if any man serve me, let him follow me as a sheep will follow the shepherd. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Verse 27, now is my soul troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour, but for this cause I am come unto this honor. So we know that the sheep is going to obey the shepherd. We know it is going to do the will of the Father as Christ did. Let's go to Psalms 141. Talking about that will, to obey his will. Psalms 143, verse 10. And he said, teach me to do thy will, for thou art my God. Thy spirit is good. There it is. Lead me. So you're going to follow him. He's going to lead you. Lead me into the land of uprightness. Quicken me. Make me alive, O Spirit of God, for thy name, for thy way's sake, for thy righteousness shall bring my soul out of trouble. See, the stranger will not follow. The goat will not follow the shepherd. The goat will not follow the shepherd. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. And it's going to say, go to Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. Exodus 19:5 says clearly, it says, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. These are the sheep. Because I have to show a contrast from a sheep and a goat. St. John chapter 10, verse 4 is going to bring out, and when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. My sheep hear my voice. And a stranger, it says, and a stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him. For they know not the voice of strangers. But a goat is rebellious. He has no regard for what he does. In other words, those that will live a life of sin is as a goat, because it says, verse 32, verse 33, Matthew 25 and 33, and he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 16. Speaking up in verse 10, it says, but the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Spirit of God to make an atonement with him, including to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. See, the goat will not be obedient to follow the shepherd through the wilderness. And as we know that many of Israel were hard-headed, disobedient, rebellious, sinful, wild, unruly, because they wouldn't hearken unto his voice. Hebrews chapter 3, pick me up at verse 7. Wherefore, as the Holy Ghost said, today, if you will hear his voice, remember, if you obey his voice, you should be a peculiar treasure unto him. Today, if you will hear his voice, verse 8, harden not your hearts as in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness. Verse 9, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years, wherefore I was grieved with that generation, said, they do always err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. They didn't follow the voice of the shepherd. They did not follow the voice of the shepherd. And we know that shepherd was Christ. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10 and 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. And it says, they did all eat the same spiritual meat, verse 4, and drank all the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. The shepherd. He says, verse 11, so I swear in my wrath, Hebrews chapter 3, verse 11, they shall not enter into my rest. Because Matthew 25 and 24 is going to say, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, who? The sheep, come ye blessed, wisdom is given of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. But let's drop down. Drop down to Matthew 25 and 41. Then shall he say unto them on the left, the goats, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels, his messengers. Go to Titus. Chapter 1, verse 16. For they profess that they know God, but in works, in works, they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and to every good work reprobate. Because the goat is going to do the things of the flesh. Romans chapter 8, verse 5 is going to say this. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. However, they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Verse 7. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God. That's why he said here, Matthew chapter 25, verse 32. He has to separate. There's a separation. the shepherd is going to divide the sheep from the goat. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is neither subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So they that are in the flesh cannot please God. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so that be that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he's none of his. Matthew 25, verse 41. Then shall he say unto them that are on the left, depart from me. He's none of his. Ye cursed. He's none of his. Into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his messengers. So we can see, my brothers and sisters, that what a goat is. Let's go to Isaiah. Let me bring this out. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 5. And it says here, it says, verse 4, a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, seed of evildoers, children that are corrupted. They have forsaken the Spirit of thy God and provoked the Holy One of Israel to anger. They are gone away backwards. Just like a goat, they're going to do what they want to do. They will not follow a shepherd out there in the wilderness. So, this Elder T, I hope that we all got some understanding on what the greatest of all time is, and that the goat, to say that a particular athlete or a comedian is a Luciferian or a worshiper of a goat, to connect that to them, I cannot make that statement, and I retract that statement. I apologize if I've spoken any way of any confusion or to mislead anyone here at KJBU. I was instructed to only speak on things that are factual and that I can prove. My personal opinions should not be injected into any teachings at all. So I like to say to each and every one of you,